Good evening, morning, afternoon, night, delete as appropriate, slimy fertilers. Today's offering is a little bit of a look at a video made by Justin Dennis, aka Riley J. Dennis, aka the, I don't know, Adam's Apple Man or some shit, I don't fucking know. Anyway, so, yep, this is the latest at the time of recording video from good old Justin. And he is basically following up a video he'd done previously, and in this video he says he's going to explain how male and female are binary but people aren't. So let's without further ado, let's see what he's got to say about this, because you know he can prove all the biologists and the doctors and stuff wrong in a short YouTube video. Exciting.
A few months ago, I made a video called Trans Women Are Not Biologically Male.
Indeed he did, and unfortunately he managed to get just about everything in it completely fucking wrong, because he has absolutely no grasp of biology or medicine.
In which I detailed why biological sex is a social construct.
You see, he's actually partly right here, although not for the reason what he thinks he is. Male and female biological classification is indeed a social construct, in the sense that the male-female binary was actually decided on as by way of being a simple and easy to refer to classification system for people at a very basic level. But the problem is, what he's trying to say is that the whole concept of there being biological sex is, something that we just made up. Well, unfortunately, the science says a lot different.
How it is an inaccurate and outdated classification system.
Well, Riley, you must have access to certain bits of scientific discoveries that I wasn't aware of. You see, I was of the opinion that we haven't reached that point in evolution yet where we could do away with the XX and XY chromosomes for women and men respectively. So unless you know any better, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask for a citation on that one, but I don't think I'll bother asking for a citation, being as that you haven't actually got any, as usual.
And how it harms trans people.
I'd love to know how describing male and female harms trans people. I mean, for a start, when he says trans, does he mean transsexual or transvestite? Because the two things are very, very, different. Obviously, a transsexual is a person who was born one sex and then transitioned or basically had an operation to become basically an ersatz version of the opposite sex. Whereas a transvestite is someone who just basically has, was born one sex but maintains and presents the appearance of the other. When we're talking about trans-related issues, the snowflakes do like to lump those two together and just classify it all as trans. But still, I'd like to know, if male-female is harming trans people, then surely saying, I've transitioned into a female or, something like that. Obviously, you don't want to transition from one part of the binary to the other, because that's not good. Binary gender doesn't exist, obviously. So I mean, this is the thing. He's only referring here to male to female transsexuals. They don't give two fucks about female to male, because female to male transsexuals are basically guilty of gender treachery, and they're not to be trusted. They're evil. They're not perfect, going for perfection. Perfection in female form, kind of thing, which is quite frankly pathetic, because women don't have perfection. There's things about women that they don't like about themselves. So yeah, not quite sure what he's getting on at here. Right.
To the surprise of nobody, that video got a bunch of backlash, so I thought I would expand on some of the points, address some of the criticisms, and, let's be honest, probably not get anywhere and probably have a very similar backlash to this video, but...
Well, how amazingly self-aware of you, Justin. Well, I think that brings this video to an end, and, thanks for watching, and, no, hang on a minute, no, that... Oh, for fuck's sakes, there's more. Oh, God, oh.
I gotta try, right? So if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I'll link it in a card up here and down in the description. It'll be like a prerequisite to this video, and I'll try not to cover too much of the same stuff. So, biological sex. If thousands of trolls on Twitter are to be believed, it's an objective, scientific fact that is inherent in nature. But
by trolls he means, people that actually bothered listening when they were doing biology at school, because it is actually an objective, provable thing in nature. Other than, kind of sexless microbes and microorganisms and stuff like that, nearly every form of life on Earth, including plants, can be broken down to having two biological sexes. The vast majority of them being male and female, but there is other intersex species that exist, but they make up very, very slim amount of the whole, and that's just speaking from for humans as well. There are majority are male and female, very, very small minority are intersex.
If scientists are to be believed, it's a human-made classification system for sorting organisms based on their reproductive abilities.
Yes, Justin, like I said earlier, biological sex is a social construct, but not in the way that you think. You see, what happened was, Justin, a long, long time ago, before you were born, the world actually existed before you were born, by the way. People who were a lot smarter than you got together and thought, well, what can we, how can we express the concept of there being, men and women? And what they came up with was biological sex. Basically, men have penises and ejaculate sperm, women have vaginas and they have eggs inside them, and you get babies by a man putting his penis into the woman, squirting sperm into her, which then fertilizes the egg, and then 9 months later, if you're lucky, get a little baby. That's how it is, and that's how it still is now. The thing is, though, over the years, we've come up with better ways of figuring out someone's sex, more advanced ways of coming up with differentiating between the sexes. For example, you can look at people's DNA, you can look at the genetics, and you can look at the chromosomes. Going right down to the very building blocks of our bodies, we can find out whether someone is male or female or not. So, there's no, you can't really argue any further, because there's literally nothing more base than that. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to conflate actual measurable empirical data with what people feel, and unfortunately feelings don't come into it.
When people say that biological sex is objective or is a fact, what they really mean is that the stuff that biological sex describes is objective. Like, there are multiple scientific models for understanding biological sex, but the most widely agreed upon one has 5 criteria: genitals, gonads, hormones, secondary sex characteristics, and chromosomes. These 5 things are measurable. They are facts. You can look at a person and measure these things. But the fact that we group all 5 of these together under one classification system called biological sex, that's our own invention. That's a human-made model for understanding and classifying bodies.
Yeah, you see, Justin just went on there to prove science is correct and that he is incorrect. He's blissfully ignorant of it, though. Yeah, we lump all these things together and we classify it as biological sex because, that's the way that we have to do it. In the same way that we measure the time it takes for the Earth to rotate so that the sun comes up, goes down, and then comes back up again. We call that time. Time is a social construct because we use that to, understand the difference between it being light and dark. We also use the concept to figure out what time the seasons are going to come along at and everything like that. That's a social construct, but I bet you he's got no real interest in destroying the concept of time, because obviously time, doesn't affect you. But I'm sure somewhere along the line somebody will find a way to say that time is sexist, even though there's absolutely nothing we can do to change that.
In nature, these 5 traits exist, but we as humans have decided to lump them all together and call them one thing. That's what we have constructed.
Justin, you dumb shit. That's because we as human beings are the only creatures on the face of the earth that are capable of understanding that concept. If you can find me an example of, I don't know, let's say a mountain goat that has come up with a better system for classifying differences between male, female, or anything in between, then, you will be classed as the greatest biologist ever in the history of mankind. But somehow I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
Chromosomes themselves are not social constructs, but deciding to call XX chromosomes female and XY chromosomes male is a social construct.
Well, yes, Justin, that's right. At the very basic level, if you'd have bothered to listen at school, an XX chromosome are only found in women, biological women, and XY chromosomes are only found in biological men. It's not a difficult proposition. Even people who are intersex will have either XX or XY in some capacity. So, what you're trying to do here is you're trying to say, well, because we named something for our convenience, that means that we must have got it wrong, or that's a really silly, outdated way of thinking about it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm down with the kids. No. Look, I'm starting to get to the point where exposure to this much stupid is actually causing me physical pain. I can see me losing my fucking temper in a minute.
I'm not saying that classifying things is wrong or that we shouldn't try to understand bodies at all, but I do.
Oh, yes you are, you fucking dumb bastard. That's the whole point of your fucking video, you... fuck!
Think we could do it better. So I'm simply asking the question if our current model of classification for biological sex is the most up-to-date, relevant, useful model out there.
I'm spinning the fidget spinner. I will remain calm. Yes, it is the best system available to us at the moment, unless you have evidence of some description that states that humans have evolved past the point at which they can be classified at the basic level as XX or XY chromosomes. Until you provide that, everything you're going to say is just a load of fucking made up bollocks.
Science evolves. Frameworks and systems we used just decades ago have changed fundamentally since then. It's our job to be skeptical and change our frameworks as our society changes.
That's correct. But only when a significant discovery renders the previous model to be obsolete. That has yet to be done in the field of determining biological sex in humans. Just because you think you're a unicorn doesn't make you a fucking unicorn.
Society is changing. We're becoming more aware of and educated about intersex people and trans people, and that's fantastic.
Society and culture have no relevance to basic scientific knowledge. It doesn't matter whether you believe that a minute is only 30 seconds, it's not. You could arbitrarily change the minute to only be 30 seconds. However, the amount of time that's passed would still be the same. And the same goes for the differences in XX and XY chromosomes to determine male or female humans.
But with this new awareness and knowledge, we might need to shift the language we use and readjust the old frameworks that we designed before we had this awareness and knowledge.
What he's basically saying there is that we need to replace true facts with good facts, and this will make benefit glorious nation Oceania. No. Just no. You can't bend reality to suit your particular agenda. It doesn't work like that. You can get rid of all the stuff that says that there are only two sexes and apply that and force doctors to, perform operations and medical procedures on people based simply on their feelings. However, it just won't work, you know. For example, this is a similar kind of argument that was used by the church during the Middle Ages, when mathematicians found out that the number pi was actually an infinite number, that it had no end to it. However, the church realised that the Bible said that only God is infinite, so therefore pi couldn't exist according to their mindset, because obviously if God is the only thing that's infinite, then this number can't be infinite. It can't be, it just can't be, it definitely isn't, can't be, no, definitely not. So they basically executed people, or excommunicated people from their community who refused to acknowledge that pi is only 3 and not 3.14 blah 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 infinity. Justin's doing exactly the same thing here, which, you know, is strange, because I didn't realise that Justin was a religious man. I mean, he must be, he's using fucking religious arguments.
So when I say biological sex is a bad classification system, what exactly does that mean? Like, what
Means that you're a fucking moron who's never read a fucking science textbook in his entire fucking life.
in particular am I criticizing? Basically, our traditional understanding of biological sex says that there are only two groups and everyone fits neatly into either one or the other.
It also accounts for the appearance of people or organisms that are intersex as well. Forgets to mention that.
When you ask people who support this framework how we sort people into these two groups, the answers are varied. Lots of people say it's by genitals. People with penises are male, people with vaginas are female. Others say it's by chromosomes. People with XY are male, people with XX are female. Others say it's based on perception. Someone who looks like a woman is female, someone who looks like a man is male. The truth is, there are biological ways of determining someone's sex, and then there are the ways we actually do it in real life.
See, what Justin's done here is he's basically lumped everybody together into the same pile. He started off talking about the biological sex classification system, which is a scientific method used to obviously to determine biological sex in human beings. However, he then conflates that with walking up to a random Joe in the street who might not have any inkling of it and asking them how you figure out whether somebody's a man or a woman or not. Two very different things. Don't start talking about the sciencey stuff and then try and pass it off as everybody knows about the sciencey stuff. Because at the minute, there's like one person here that definitely doesn't know about the sciencey stuff, and it's not me. It's you know, the guy with the Adam's apple and the bad makeup. I mean, fuck's sakes, man, I can apply makeup better than you.
The Miller-Keane Encyclopedia and Dictionary of Medicine, Nursing, and Allied Health.
Yeah, published by W.B. Saunders on its 7th edition, but that edition was printed in 2006, which now means that it's an obsolete text now. But I bet you he's managed to find something in there which slightly agrees with the point he's trying to make. Maybe try looking in a more recent textbook, I don't know, maybe.
Published in 2003, says that sex is a distinction based on the type of gametes produced by an individual. Gametes are reproductive cells. Under this traditional definition, males produce sperm and females produce eggs. So that's a biologist's way of determining the sex of a person or organism. But we don't test everyone's gametes at birth. In fact, we don't even test chromosomes. A doctor simply looks at the baby's genitals and makes a determination based on whether it looks like a penis or a vulva.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So basically what he's doing now is he's going down the thing. This whole fucking video is basically a big build-up to him going fucking, oh, well, you're assigned a sex at birth by a doctor who just looks at your genital. For fuck's sakes, Justin. The reason why the doctor looks at your genitals and determines whether you're male or female is because males have penises and females have vaginas. This is a quick and dirty system for, you know, quickly analysing. We really don't do the whole chromosomal tests and things like that at birth because it's not necessary. Nature has found a quick and dirty way of doing it. Now, unfortunately, sometimes this does lead to people who are born intersexed being misclassified. And it also leads to there are a couple of other medical conditions where, for example, a person can appear to be female, but she may have undeveloped male sexual organs still inside her body. I think they did an episode of House about it once, where a girl had testicular cancer because she still had a testicle inside her vagina where her ovaries should have been. But yeah, for this entire video, just basically to boil down to the old, you are assigned a gender at birth by the doctor who takes a quick look at your junk. No, I thought there was something better coming along, but I should have known better than to expect anything, that wasn't tried, tested, and thoroughly already debunked. Especially from fucking Justin Dennis, who hasn't got a fucking clue about anything. He's just given a script and just reads fucking stuff off and tries to do it in a manner that's convincing. But unfortunately, you see, this is one of the reasons why I don't like watching fucking Justin Dennis videos, because he always does everything with that shit-eating grin on his face. And it's fucking stupid. If he just one day realised just how fucking dumb he is, it might make a bit of a difference to anything. I don't know. Oh, fuck. Well, that was a long rant, wasn't it?
The reason for that is that it's a quick, easy way of making an educated guess about other aspects of the baby. If they have a vulva, they probably have ovaries, XX chromosomes, and will develop female secondary sex characteristics at puberty. However, an educated guess is still a guess.
There we go. Justin Dennis does not trust doctors. You heard it there, because an educated guess is only a guess. I'm not sure whether he's actually going to go through with transitioning from male to female. But let's see. I mean, who will be performing this operation if he does? Will it be a doctor? And will the doctor be making educated guesses about which bits to cut off and which bits to sew up and and all stuff like that? Because if I only believe that an educated guess was only a guess and therefore shouldn't be trusted, I don't think I'd ever go and see a doctor ever again, would you? Because that'd be stupid. Letting somebody just play around with your insides and stuff like that when they're only making guesses.
Doctors don't test your gametes as soon as you're born. Plus, there are other kinds of biological sex. That same dictionary also lists chromosomal sex, endocrinological sex, gonadal sex, sex hormones, morphological sex, and nuclear sex. These translate roughly into the 5 categories I mentioned earlier: genitals, gonads, hormones, secondary sex characteristics, and chromosomes. Now, let's say you're a doctor and you want to determine someone's sex. You see that they have female genitals, you measure their hormone levels and see that they have high levels of estrogen and low levels of testosterone. You see that they're short and don't have a lot of body hair, and they have breasts. You might conclude that this person is female, but if you investigated a little further, you would find that this person has XY chromosomes and they don't have ovaries. The person is a trans woman. They have traits of being both a female and a male under the traditional definition. So what do you classify them as?
Well, you've already said exactly what you would classify him as, Justin. You would classify it as a trans woman. That is a biological male who has undergone surgical procedures in order to present the aspect of a female. You could also call this like a ersatz female or something like that, but that probably wouldn't go down too well. The problem is that this trans woman is not a biological female, because although may have high estrogen levels, that is basically because of the estrogen medication it's taking. If you stop taking that medication, then the high estrogen, low testosterone would swap back round. May swap back round. I mean, being as he's had his testicles removed, they are the primary source of testosterone in a man's body. The breasts can also be looked at and to see that they will mostly be false. A simple x-ray can do that, where you can see breast implants. Well, then again, there may not be breast implants. You can have hormonal injections which can cause breast growth in men. But yeah, the person that you've described there is not biologically female, is incapable of producing ova, and without medical attention would not have, female hormone levels. Simple, really.
Better yet, how do you treat them? Do you treat them like a female patient and give them the same medical advice you would give any other woman? Or do you treat them like a male patient and give them the medical advice you would give a man?
Well, the simple solution to this one, Justin, is that basically you treat them according to whatever ailment they have. For example, a trans woman will never present to a doctor with ovarian cancer, same as a trans man would never present to a doctor with prostate cancer, quite frankly, because they don't have them. So if you don't have them, then you can't get that. But how you could treat them is just treat them in a neutral way. You know, there's no special privileges afforded based on sex, really, when the doctor's telling you that you've got something. You know, men can get verrucas, women can get verrucas. They don't get treated differently based on, you know, what genitals they appear to have. You know, it's, oh, you've got verrucas, there you go. If it's something specific, I mean, for example, if a trans woman walked into a doctor's office, and sounds like the beginning of a bad joke. Trans woman walks into a doctor's office and presents, you know, problems with the hormonal medication that they have, then treating them as a woman would be the ideal solution. But again, we're going down the road of, you know, what's better for them emotionally. You know, it doesn't matter how many kisses and cuddles you get. It's just, you know, is the treatment that the doctor giving you effective? Does it cure your problem? If not, then your doctor's not a very good doctor. Doesn't matter whether he says good morning madam or good morning sir. You know, what matters is that whether they find the treatment that's appropriate for the illness that you're presenting them with. There's nothing really much to add to that. I don't know why this one's such a big deal for them. Okay, so I'm cutting it short there, because Justin now goes on to spend the next 20 minutes just rambling on and whining about people's feelings and stuff like that, which, you know, considering his video was originally supposed to be about how you classify males and females, you know, using biological sex is wrong and stuff. What people feel about it is completely irrelevant. You know, science doesn't take into account what people feel. It doesn't matter what people feel. True facts are true facts. You know, true facts may not be good facts, but unfortunately that's just how fucking life works. So, yeah, I really... This is my first time I've actually done any kind of proper criticism of Justin Dennis, and people may note that throughout the video I've referred to him as Justin. I will refer to him by his preferred name and pronoun once he's completed his transition, if he ever does that. He may want people to refer to him as trans, but at the moment he is a transvestite, not a transsexual. Doesn't act in a particularly feminine manner. Say, well, that's just, you know, sexist gender roles and stuff like that, but when he presents as a man wearing makeup, he's just a transvestite. I'm sorry, you know, but that's how it fucking works, I'm afraid. You know, he went to try and convince us firstly about how science classifies people as either male or female, and then decided to conflate that with you know, how the average Joe in the street does. So he quite clearly has no respect for the facts, so I have no respect for him. So yeah, anyways, full link to the full video will be in the description as usual. You know, feel free to comment and subscribe and whatever, and if you're feeling particularly nice, you can follow me on Twitter, and if you're feeling extremely nice, you can donate to me via PayPal. As I say, my goal at the moment is to get enough money together to buy a better quality microphone, so that the audio on these videos will go up, well, the audio quality on these videos will go up significantly. But yeah, so anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.